first tasked with solving the G-BSP's usability problem, we were overwhelmed and met with confusion. Within the first week, we were introduced to large, complicated models that we had trouble understanding, from the entirety of the G-BSP system to the mission model canvas we now live in. We had lots of initial ideas for solutions that we thought needed to be implemented into the G-BSP without any customer discovery or grasp of breadth of the course. The lack of responsiveness to our interview outreach emails created a stalemate in our progress as well, and we were stumped. We were focused on the ideas and desires of our problem sponsors, not realizing how user feedback would affect our operation. After realizing that we needed to look at each user individually to understand their specific job functions and needs in relation to the G-BSP, rather than labeling each individual as part of a whole community of users, everything began to fall into place. Customer responses began to flood in about the lack of user-generated data, the need for simple technology that would make data combing more simplistic, and a better base to communicate with unit members. This brought us to actually start creating MVPs. This was our aha moment that guided us through the rest of the course. After over 24 interactions with military personnel spanning across the globe, we were able to cross-tabulate the information we gathered from our interviews with the information we recorded on our mission model canvases and value proposition canvases to come to our final minimum viable product. To increase the usage and efficacy of the G-BSP, our team has concluded that there needs to be changes to both the map and home sections of the portal. For the home portion of the portal, we suggest the addition of features that allow document creation that enables multi-person editing and notifications to allow for a more collaborative experience that would ensure the most efficient use of resources. For additions to the map, we have discovered giving users tools to organize the mass amounts of data is crucial to increase use and efficiency. Our final MVP includes tools for organizing data through region selection, severity organized data for a selected region, time-lapse data, and the addition of user input data. For both sections, we suggest, based off of our interviews, the implementation of an alert system that would vary based on the importance of the information. For instance, an email for a document update, while a biological disaster, there may be an Amber Alert-like message that would immediately call you to action. Based on all the information we have collected, we know the introductions of these features would make the portal more user-friendly, increasing its usability and efficiency.
Hello, we're Team MF Susan, and thank you for coming out to our presentation today. We're going to be discussing with you guys the Global Biosurveillance Portal. The Global Biosurveillance Portal is abbreviated to be the G-BSP. It is used to monitor chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear threats worldwide. We were tasked with figuring out how we could better the data correlation and the collaboration aspects on the portal in both the data aggregation and on the report generation sides of the portal. But before we get into our process and what we came up with, I want to introduce you to the team. I'm Madison Mainwaring.
My name's Alex.
I'm Leor.
And I'm Isaiah.
And with the help of our faculty advisor, Dr. Gupta, and our research mentor, Rich Lawson, we were able to get to the progress in our MVPs, minimal viable products, that we're going to show you today. So here's our journey with the portal. Originally, we were introduced to the G-BSP and things were going pretty smoothly. We thought we had a good grasp on it. We formed our team and were introduced to the mission model framework. Fortunately, we were wrong. We honestly had no idea how to tackle this project, and the lack of responses kind of led us to this stalemate where we were just struggling to understand all the information we were being given and how to effectively tackle the problem set. Once we started getting our responses, we came to the conclusion that what the users wanted was different from what the problem sponsors wanted. And we decided to pivot the direction that we were going in so that we could increase user base through collaborative tools. And to do that, we had to create a more friendly user base.
So what did our MMC look like? So this is our first initial mission model canvas. So essentially everything on here that we had was kind of stuff that we just thought we understood. So everything basically was guesses that we had. All the X's pretty much represent everything that we basically got completely wrong come later in the course. And more specifically our beneficiaries, which became crucial when it came to defining our value propositions, our brand support. Our beneficiaries, because we were guessing, it affected it negatively, as well as our with our mission achievement in a negative way. So this kind of leads into our first initial MVP. So because of our initial thoughts, our first MVP was essentially, like I said, what we thought was the most logical way of going about and finding the solution of G-BSP. We were mainly focused on the solution itself rather than taking into consideration of the desires of our beneficiaries. But once we finally did interact with our beneficiaries, we come to realize what the real pains that they were dealing with that we needed to address. So once we made this realization, we realized that we need to readjust our focus into our solutions. So we found that we needed to focus on beneficiaries in an operational level that were involved in public health and the combined joint operational task forces. And by doing so, we realized they interact daily with data, and they also need software like the G-BSP to reach their mission achievement.
And so we narrowed down we wanted to focus our beneficiary on the public health officer, and we wanted to provide value by improving the collaborative aspect and the communication aspect within the portal. To do so, we're going to partner closely with Johns Hopkins University and to improve our MVPs. And another thing we could do is to work with the IRI in order to just revamp the portal. And the total cost the IRI quoted us was $500,000. The first element of our MVP is group collaboration. We gained inspiration for this from the Google Doc, Google Drive interface. The first thing we noticed was in order to view documents, you need to download them, and that was a lot of clicking, a lot of hassle that we saw. And so the first thing we want is to be able to preview documents on the portal. We'd also like to be able to see who is actually on the document, just so we'll be able to work with other team members within your group on the portal. And we want group members to ask questions, comment on the sidelines, and also suggest changes. And for each of those three things, we want to have a notification system for the other group members so they know what's going on and the changes in the document. And so to add on to that, we not only want an alert system for the group, but we also want a map alert system so that we can see how hazards of different impacts will affect first deployers, and different levels of impact should have different alert systems. And so the third element of our MVP is to have user input. This is one that was brought up constantly when we talk to our beneficiaries. So during missions, we know that first deployers are informed with the area before they actually go onto the field. At the end of the day, we want deployers to gain their newfound information from actually being on the field and not just what people told them, and have that new information and be given to nearby deployers or deployers who will be coming in after them. And so we do that by having this little user update box in which we'll have a timestamp and we'll have the name of the user and then some comments in which they can validate or disvalidate the hazard. And so this is great because the user input is separate from the organizational input, and so we're actually able to see what is validated through organizations and what is said through users.
The next three MVPs deal with the overwhelming amount of data and layers on the map. So for those of you who do not know, there's about 850 layers you can toggle through, which leads to way too many data points for anyone to manage. So our next three MVPs have solutions to that. The first solution is creating user-defined regions. This means that users can select a region on the map, and that will limit what they see. So they select the region, as you can see there on the right, and then the map will populate with only the layers that are actually active within that region, instead of giving them all the layers that are active around the world, which significantly cuts down what they see. The next MVP is a time slider bar that we added. This is going to allow users to limit the amount of information they see based off time. So they choose the time frame in which they see their information from. So as you see here on the right, we added a time bar on top of the G-BSP. So right now, looking at Japan, there are 2 active hazards in the last year, but as the user slides the bar over to the most recent month, there is only 1 active hazard. So this way, when it is more populous than just 2 hazards, they can really look at only the hazards that are relevant to their mission. The last MVP we have for this is creating time-based data on the map and allowing users to understand the time frame of the data on the map, and we do this twofold. The first way is by populating the map with data from old to new, and the second is that older data is going to become a little bit faded and newer data is going to be brighter. So as you see on the G-BSP right now, there are no hazards, and as you click active hazards, the map begins to populate, and as it goes through its second time through, you can now see that the older ones are more faded and the newer ones are brighter. This now allows you to understand the pattern of whatever hazard is going on and let you look at the information that is most relevant to your mission.
Alright, so what does this mean with the future of the G-BSP? Is there any way that we should continue it, or what should we do to answer the problem set? So, per the advice of our users, you can follow our MVPs and implement those to satisfy the demands that your beneficiaries are seeking. Or we suggest that you could partner with i4NS, as mentioned previously in the slides. $500,000 for 4 to 6 months of work will get you a complete revamp of the portal to answer the data correlation aspect. And there it is now. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, exactly. That was the amber alert from our
That's
portal.
the-